What was that, the old link?
Hi guys, welcome to FanChat TV. Today we're going to be discussing our all-time Premier League Division 1 11. I have here with me Aaron and Leroy. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, not too bad.
Very well, very good.
Leroy has adjusted himself into our co-host also and co-host position now, isn't it, Aaron? I think by now.
Yeah, he's cult status now.
Yeah, he is cult.
No, man, it's always good. It's always good coming on and listening to everyone's views and getting involved. You know what I mean? It's all good.
Yeah, perfect. So today, obviously, we're doing our all-time Premier League and Division 1. Of course, that is the Football League First Division from the 80s to 92 since the inauguration of the Premier League. We're going to be deciding each position. Now, we have 3 rules today. As you can see in the middle of the screen, we have 3 rules from the team. We can only pick 3 players max per decade, 2 players max per team, and 2 players max per nation. So if Aaron decides to put Schmeichel and Gary Neville in the back, then he's pretty much done for the team. But obviously, it's not confined to our own teams. We can pick players from other teams as well. Leroy, I'm sure, is going to be gunning for that Nottingham Forest players in the team as well.
To be honest with you, that was their best time. When
it was.
So,
80s onwards, it is.
Finally a show where Leroy can have some input.
Nah. That's it, yeah.
Well, it's just 3 of us. It's just 3 of us today, so it might be a bit easier for me to get a word in.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, guys, so we're going to be starting off, of course, with a little bit of discussion from pretty much Football League's First Division to the Premier League now. Aaron had a little bit of something to say between the 3 of us in pre-match discussion. I would say pre-stream discussion. Aaron, what was your point? Obviously, stating about kind of 90s footballs onwards. Obviously, tattoos, the development of hairstyles. What's your point on that?
Yeah, I was just kind of saying, Dave. I kind of feel like I think we were talking about being comparative to sort of the modern football player and the sort of archetypal 80s, 90s football player. I kind of think at the turn of the millennium, the footballer became a bit more marketable. A bit more. It became a huge marketability factor came into football, and it was no longer your Neil Ruddocks. Back in times, your defender with the reducer. It was more. Football changed, and I kind of. I'm stuck in my sort of time with it, and I can't give the players now the same appreciation as I would do the players of my youth.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think in essence of what you're saying, I definitely agree. Obviously, we can agree that football's just got maybe a little bit faster. Defenders are players are more protected now by the referees. Cards are being shown much more often now than they used to. And I think money has a lot to do with it, in kind of the entirety of it. Leroy, what's your point on kind of like football's evolution, especially the First Division, obviously Football League's First Division, to now the Premier League? What's your kind of point on the evolution of football?
Well, it's one of those ones where I explained earlier, like. You've also got the younger generation now, and they probably look up and aspire a lot to a lot of the current players. For us, I think it's a little bit different, especially for me, because like in my era growing up, it was we used to look up to footballers like some Glenn Hoddle, people like that, and they were like role models for us. You know what I mean? So, but for me, a lot of the players today, as I've obviously got older now. I can't really look at them as role models as like the younger generation would. I've had my time there, but fair respects to them. I mean, things evolve. Players like having tattoos, as like everyone mentioned about, the media sort of involvement in it and celebrity sort of thing. But I mean, in respects of how it's evolved, I just think naturally it's made its natural progression, and people like sort of my son, people like that, they still look up and admire a lot of these players. So, things move on.
I can have a look at the kind of exceptional football players, like I think a generation of footballers sort of like went away with your Wayne Rooney's, your Steven Gerrards, your Rio Ferdinands.
Yeah.
That was the end of, I would say, my, because they started when I first started liking football. Do you know what I mean? So now that they've finished, that was kind of an end of an era where we're going into a completely new generation.
Yeah.
And so, as Leroy was saying, like his son Rufus, that's his generation now. Do you know what I mean? And I think it does become like that, because then when I got into football, Leroy, it's like as my older brother, Nottingham Forest weren't that much of an attractive proposition. And do you know what I mean? It kind of gets handed on. Everyone has their time in the sunshine, basically, don't they?
Yeah, I think also, just touching on what you just said, I think it is the evolution of who was the standout team there, and who did you want to support to go along with your mates, or have that kind of peer pressure in school, for whatever it would be. I mean, even in the 90s, I had a little stint of supporting Vialli's Chelsea.
You're proper glory hunter, you were.
Yeah, yeah, I was. And then when Man United won the Champions League, I started supporting them. But I always myself supported Real Madrid, even though they're not in the Premier League at all. I supported Real Madrid since I was a little youngin. My first kit had Raul on the back. So, and I'm sure, I think it was it Teddy or was it Beckham for you, Aaron?
I think I had Dwight York, my first kit.
Dwight York, was it? Yes.
Sharing him afterwards.
Yeah. Leroy, what was your first kit?
Well, back in them days, man, you'd be lucky to get a kit back in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like, your parents were not going to buy you a football kit back in them days. There's more important things and more essential things to buy. So, I think I bought myself my own football top when I started working and all that kind of stuff, and was able to sort of stand on my own 2 feet. But interestingly enough, just going back on the point, the last podcast we done, which was the England team, wasn't it, from the 80s until now?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was interesting that we didn't actually pick anyone from the current sort of England setup.
Yeah.
We kind of retrospectively just went back to decades before. So I think the point I touched on when I first began speaking today on this podcast was, how youngers look up to the older footballers. Yeah. So maybe because I've passed that age, I'm not respecting what's going on now when I probably should be. You know what I mean? So in a funny way, in this podcast, I hope that we actually pick 1 or 2 current players.
I think it's more inadvertent than actually being purposeful. When you go back towards your time, do you know what I mean? But and I think we might be a bit fairer to the new school, especially with the restrictions David's put in
yes,
now.
I have now. Yeah, exactly. So obviously the restrictions for this team, like I said before, 3 players max per decade, 2 max per team, and 2 max per nation. So as you can see in the middle, guys, we have lineup 11 lined up obviously nicely for this. We've gone with a very plain red kit to match, I think, all the teams that everybody supports, including Nottingham Forest, Man United, Liverpool, just in case Clive comes on. And Aaron, you were saying that Wimbledon had a red kit, I think.
I think Wimbledon did have a red kit in the 2000s.
I need to do my research.
Matthew would have to confirm. If he was there, would confirm that. But
confirm that.
I'm sure I did see a red kit, a tiny, and when they're sponsored Tiny.
Yeah.
I'll just drop one in for Matthew because he's not on. I think I can remember Carl Leeburn wearing a red kit. Oh, was that when he was at Charlton? That might be when he was at Charlton. So.
That's what I remember. I remember Leeburn running in a red kit.
Yeah, we just had to get the Leeburn one out of the way, yeah?
It's amazing how he always pops up, doesn't he? Jesus.
Carl Leeburn, obviously a resident.
We've actually got to send him a letter and get him on and say, like, this is basically his channel.
This is his channel, yeah. Cool, guys. So we're going to be with this 11 now, and we're going to start with the keeper. Okay, so... we obviously thrown up some names now. For myself, for the keeper, I was kind of debating with who should I pick. Now, I kind of left most of the 90s and 80s players actually up the front rather than in the back and resign them to the back. So for my keeper, I went for... I looked at a whole list. Obviously, I went for Schmeichel, Van der Sar. I went for even the current generation of keepers. But my standout keeper from the last 4 decades, I think, was Petr Cech from Mourinho's era. Now, the reason, obviously, I chose Petr Cech because Chelsea and should we call it Mourinho ball? Let's call it Mourinho ball just for the sake of it. Jose Mourinho obviously brought in Petr Cech as a very young keeper, and I think he developed into one of the all-time greats across all 4 decades for myself, and his record stands out for himself apart from penalty saves. But that's me, I think Petr Cech to eliminate kind of like the noughties era and have an obscure nation in there like the Czech Republic will give us a bit more head start on that. Aaron, who would be your? I think I know who, but who would be your standout keeper for the team? There's a lot you could choose from.
The Petr Cech thing is quite good, but he had a mighty defense in front of him.
He did.
Which I think they conceded 15 goals one season, which is amazing. So, I'm kind of conflicted. I've got 2 for goalkeeper for me. So Peter Schmeichel, obviously, there's no way I can get away with not saying his name.
Yeah,
be a travesty. And also for Edwin van der Sar. So we'll hear what Leroy's got to say, and then we'll sort of maybe
debate on that.
But I think Schmeichel obviously picks himself in this debate. And what Edwin van der Sar did when United didn't have a steady goalkeeper for a number of years, came in and just basically orchestrated that back line with Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic. Like Wes Brown would come in there, John O'Shea would come in there, and it was just pretty much just the same all the time. He was very, very vocal. Same as Schmeichel. Both had great longevity. I think Van der Sar played till he's 38, 40.
Yeah, really good as well. Played really well for in these later years.
Yeah, I don't think we can really talk about much other players, key goalkeepers in my eyes. So that would be my 2 picks, and I'll probably have to choose one.
Leroy, yourself, what about keepers for you? I mean, stretching across all 4 decades, will you kind of resign maybe to Shilton as well for Nottingham Forest, or would you go for a different choice, maybe from a different team for yourself?
Well, yeah, I mean, Shilton gets mentioned quite a lot, doesn't he? Especially on our podcasts and stuff, and he's had his fair share of being in the first team. But I'm going to think slightly outside the box and show my age here. But I'm going to go for Neville Southall.
Okay.
Good shout.
Yeah.
Good shout.
In my era, he was a fantastic goalkeeper. Remember him a lot playing for Everton. I think he's Welsh nationality, is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to be my first choice. I think secondly, I quite liked your goal, David. Was it Petr Cech?
Yeah. Obviously, Petr Cech just recently retired after playing at Arsenal, but I'm counting him more across the Chelsea years because that's when he stood out for me. But yeah, go ahead. Again,
Seaman's been mentioned quite a few times in our podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've probably thrown 3 names out there: Southall, Seaman, and Cech. Sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
If we're talking Premier League as well, I think we could probably put Jussi Jääskeläinen in there as well.
Yeah, Jääskeläinen was a great shout as well.
Yeah, it's a great shout.
For longevity, and he was like proper good goalkeeper. But anyway, sorry to.
I was just thinking, what do you guys think about sort of like current goalkeepers in terms of maybe, your likes of your Heaton, sort of, do you think they've still got a lot to show maybe, or?
I don't think they can lace up boots, Leroy, to be fair.
The only one currently I think that can potentially...
David De Gea.
Yeah, it's the only one I was thinking of that could potentially go into this team. I think Edison's too young in his career at the moment. Obviously, with a lot of different keepers across the Premier League. I mean, even Hugo Lloris could have a shout for his longevity in Tottenham. But I don't, like Aaron said, I don't think they can lace up the boots of a lot of these great keepers. Like For me, Cech is one of the best keepers of the last 20 years. Schmeichel before that. And yeah, Southall had a very long career. So it's a difficult decision. So
Very long career.
for me, I think I'm going to go for Petr Cech still and keep my decision standing. Aaron, your ultimate decision between Schmeichel and...
I love Edwin van der Sar, but I'm going to have to say Peter Schmeichel.
And Leroy, who do you think you'd be going for?
So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to throw the balance here, aren't I? I mean, the ball's in my court now, because either way I go, we're going to have to decide. And I think I'm going to lean on Petr Cech.
Petr Cech. So we're looking in Petr Cech as the keeper?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool.
Sorry about that, bruv.
Wow.
Yeah, I think...
Unbelievable, Jeff.
Okay, so we've chosen Petr Cech, obviously, from Chelsea. Yeah. And that would be, obviously, for the Czech Republic and will be for 2000s onwards. Yeah.
I think we might have to have VAR on that one at the end of the game.
If Clive comes in, then maybe there will be VAR, I think. Cool, guys. So, I obviously had to struggle with the defense a little bit, but I'm going to go for you guys first, and then we're going to kind of like...
Schmeichel is the best goalkeeper in Premier League history. Come on.
He is, but you would have only one more choice, so...
Yeah, I'm on that level. I'm quite happy.
You have two choices instead of one, and that means I can't put any Italian Chelsea's. Only one more Italian stallion Chelsea's, Violi's Chelsea's in there somewhere. Cool, guys. So I'm gonna go for Leroy first. I think obviously then we can go and flip around, keep on flipping around in this one. For your two centre backs, who would you choose for your two centre backs? Obviously, we're talking about 4 decades here, so it is a huge choice.
Yeah,
it is a huge choice. So
I'm actually glad Tony and Clive aren't here, because I mean that would, this would be a gut wrenching one, really. You know, because there's so many points of view, really, because it's a massive scope.
It is.
I mean, similarly, we had this the other night, didn't we? Where we had the England team and all the names that were called out there. There were a lot of the, obviously. Premier League guys, Division 1 guys as well, the old school Division 1. So,
who would you say is the standout defenders from the 80s for you?
So, Alan Hansen.
Yeah, Alan Hansen definitely. Was it? It was with him. Was it? What's his name? Another Liverpool guy. McDermott, Terry McDermott, people like that.
Mark Lawrenson as well was there with him, wasn't it?
Mark Lawrenson, Liverpool. So a few Liverpool names there.
Who did you put for your Nottingham Forest fan profile in the defence?
Yeah, I believe I put Des Walker. And next to Des Walker, I think I put Larry Lloyd, I think. Yeah. So he's just reason I put him because he's a really tough defender as well as. I mean, Des Walker had serious pace as well, didn't he? But I think Des might be a name that I'll probably leave in this one as well. Des Walker. I just remember the chants from the crowd, like "You'll never beat Des Walker." That was like every time Forest played at home or whatever. It just makes the hair stand up a bit thinking about it. But so you've got your likes of your Tony Adams, which probably a lot of people are going to mention.
Ferdinand didn't make the last week's last.
Ferdinand didn't make last week. Yeah. So I think I'll pick two of each then. So Des Walker, Rio Ferdinand, and then we'll probably look at the likes of. I was going to say John Terry, but probably stealing a lot of you guys' names as well here.
Aaron, yourself, moving on kind of like from the 80s onwards, 90s defenders to 2000s. I'm probably thinking you're thinking that Stam is on there in the equation. Obviously, in the two centre backs, Rio Ferdinand from Man United, and maybe any other suggestions you can put out from other clubs that will be kind of a surprise.
So I'm going to go
Company. How can I forget Company?
Yes, I forgot about Company as well.
Yeah. There's so many centre backs, 90s, early 2000s. I kind of think I'm gonna go for my suggestion. It's so difficult. My favourite defender would have to be Yap Stam because I think he came into the Premier League and literally just changed the whole game defensively. And I kind of think when he did leave United, we were very much damaged without him. And I kind of think that when you're saying a defender, I know I can say Steve Bruce, I can say Gary Pallister, I could, there's so many, great defenders you can say there, but I'm probably going to go for Yap Stam.
Okay, who would you other defender? If it, let's say away from Man United, who would be your call-outs for other defenders that could pair up with Yap Stam and be maybe systematic in the defense, very strong at the back?
Remember Sami Hyypiä? He played for Liverpool.
Yes.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, Stefan Show.
Lucas Radebe from Leeds.
Radebe is a good shout as well. That was on the tip of my tongue there, Dave. I say Steve Bruce.
Steve Bruce, yeah? Cool, okay. My actually suggestions were, I kind of think outside the box, and I was like, okay, who is the guy that keeps on talking about defending? So I just went Alan Hansen in the 80s. Because I think, if you wanted to justify kind of, which position would suit the 80s more, I think Alan Hansen, because he's kind of like the be-all, end-all of all defending, isn't it? Him from the 80s onwards, obviously talking about match of the day, how he could improve his defending. That was a lot of his commentary and his analysis, obviously, in each show. And then the other one, which may surprise you, and I was thinking of putting any Italian Chelsea, but I was like, no, okay. The other one I went to is Carvalho from Chelsea's 2000s as well, with Mourinho, obviously, his team. So I was obviously going for Carvalho and Alan Hansen as my two centre-back pairing. Okay. So, Leroy, from all those kind of defenders, who would you like to pick to be our two centre-backs?
Okay, ultimately, I'm going to still stick with Des Walker.
Yep.
And quite like Alan Hansen as well. I think that's a good shout.
So two from the 80s, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Aaron?
Tony Adams and Yap Stam.
Tony Adams and Yap Stam. And my pick, I think the names that you've mentioned initially, I think have outweighed. Obviously, I picked Alan Hansen. So, Leroy, who did you pick? Alan Hansen as well?
Yeah.
I initially Des Walker would be my first shout, but I think Alan Hansen. Yeah. I'd have to say for me, he was outstanding. So, yeah, I'll go with him as well.
So Alan Hansen is one of them. Yeah, that's been locked in for that. And I'm going to go for the next one, who I think is definitely, obviously, from my perspective, one of the best defenders. And from the 90s, I'm going to pair up with you, Aaron, and go for Yap Stam.
Nice.
I think Yap Stam, when you saw him play, he was like, mate, did you see him in the reunion match with Bayern Munich?
Oh, he smashed it, mate. He tore him apart, mate. He was like grappling them to the ground and everything.
He was grappling everybody. He was absolutely crazy. So I think Alan Hansen.
I'm a bit upset that you guys went for the Yap Stam. You took away one of my United players. I was hoping you would have got my gambit there.
But...
a close shout to Yap Stam for me would have been Vincent Kompany, though.
I think
not Tony Adams.
Yeah.
Now the reason I went for Yap Stam instead of Tony Adams is because Adams is English. So I think to reserve some English players. Do you think maybe that's a good idea to reserve some English players for later on?
Yeah, but the restriction on clubs is still going to be Downing anyway, isn't it?
Because of what? Because of Man United and Liverpool.
You said you can only pick 2 players from each club.
That's true. Right? Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's only 2 players from each club. But I think for me, I don't know. I think Adams outweighs Yap Stam outweighs it in terms of just general brute force. I just wanted a really brute, strong defender. If you're looking at technicality, Hansen is technically a very gifted defender, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I think Yap Stam, if brute force, you're just going to go, yeah, that's it, Yap Stam, you're in there. So everybody happy with that?
I'm in agreement.
Yeah,
majority rules. So yeah,
that's it. Boom. Cool. So now these are juicy pieces. We had a right old mare choosing the left back and right mare last time.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen again, mate.
It's gonna happen again. So we've got right backs and we've got left backs. So which one should we start with, guys? Which one do you think is the best one to start with?
Say we start with the right hand side.
Yeah, let's start on the right hand side. So Aaron, I'll let you obviously pick your players, and then we can go on the right hand side of the defense.
Right backs. Mate, this is really hard with the restrictions, you know, because you could just call names out, but you can't just do that. You have to really sort of think about it.
But I think at the end of the day, I think we'll make a really good team because of the restrictions. We have a very diverse team.
People watching will think, what are these guys doing, really? Because you could pick better players, but then you have to think about anyone watching. We have to think about restrictions. So, right back. There's an argument for Gary Neville again.
There is
longevity. So many medals. But if I look Premier League, it's tough. It's tough.
If you remember, you got the old Division 1 as well. So
that's what I'm thinking about, yeah.
So we haven't crossed any borders with, for example, with nations so far, which is great, and we only have one from specific clubs. So I have a few as well. Maybe Leroy go first, and then Aaron can have a little think about it. Aaron, so Leroy, yourself, right backs for you, stand out from the 4 decades.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going to go from Nottingham Forest with Anderson, outstanding right back. Then we had this sort of similar thing the other day with the England team, didn't we? And it was Neville and as well as with Anderson, wasn't it? I mean, they were the two main candidates. We chucked in like sort of Carl Walker, people like that. Did you mention Michael? No, Mikel. What's his name? The Man City.
I did. Yeah. I think right back's always been like for the England team. And obviously in Premier League, it's always been. There's no certainty there. Like if we're going to the other side on the left, I know exactly who I'm going to pick without debate. But on the right hand side, I don't know on medals and all that. Like I have to give it to Gary Neville.
Gary Neville's a great choice, but obviously going back, the rules are tough. I think because that means it leaves you with no Man United player.
You know what? Yes, I can't do Gary. I could maybe Frank Leboeuf or something.
There's a lot of Premier League. There's a lot of guys that we could choose on. Obviously, I'm kind of going on Invincibles era.
Yeah,
and I'm choosing Laurent from Arsenal. Laurent from Arsenal. It's not longevity to the extent of longevity, but that Invincibles team, I tell you what, he was rated one of the best right backs in the world at that time, by far. So I'm not. It's debatable, isn't it? I mean, Leroy, what's your thinking on the right backs itself? I mean, we could even throw out the latest generation of them. There's a lot of late generation right backs.
I'm even thinking about going for Trent already.
Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah. That's not a bad shout, you know. We did say we wanted some sort of young blood in there, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I think it'd be nice to get in a few current players in this 11, you know.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad shout, Aaron. Actually,
it's like when I'm thinking about Premier League right backs, right? So I'm thinking about, you know, I don't know, like who we think like. There's no like Gary Kelly for Leeds. Stephen Carr for Tottenham in the 80s. Like, I know I'm a bit lost on the 80s a little bit. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, on right backs, my brain is not functioning completely well with that. And it's probably because it weren't really my time period. So I would probably, yeah, I'm going to go for Trent.
You're going for Trent? Okay.
I like it.
Yeah. If we go for Trent, we have no more Liverpool slots left in the team.
Oh, that's okay with me because there's no one on a bit.
Clive would have had something to say about that. He was like, definitely. And Tony, don't forget about Tony.
Actually, Stevie G in the midfield. Oh, yeah,
that's another one.
Oh, there's so many midfielders to choose from, though, isn't there?
Stevie G, and I've got a great one because the thing is, I want to leave one specific player for Man United for later on, and if we had Man United right back, then I can't put Beckham. That's another one. But there are other right backs. There's other right midfielders that we can choose from.
Like outstanding right backs.
The only
Gary for England was there for a long time, so there wasn't anybody deputising him really.
Yeah.
As for foreign imports, you could say. Who would you say? Paulo Ferreira, Chelsea. Ivanovic.
Yeah, for Chelsea.
Do you remember Marianne Melchiot for Chelsea?
Melchiot, yeah. Melchiot was good.
I was going to say, David, sorry to interrupt. Yes. Did you mention that if we put in pick a Liverpool player like Trent Alexander, we haven't got no more Liverpool players to pick?
No, it's only
Why is that? Who else have we picked from Liverpool?
Alan Hansen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Alan Hansen. And it's kind of it's good that the Liverpool fans are not here, and then it's kind of good that the Liverpool fans are away as well. So I'm not sure. I mean, I would go for Trent.
I don't want to give up that Liverpool player. Actually,
really, in the midfield, do you think?
I'm going to back Leroy and Viv Anderson.
Viv Anderson for the 80s, yeah. Cool. So I would go for Viv Anderson myself. I was choosing.
The 80s done now, is it?
No, 80s are not done. We have one more player from the 80s decade. We can go, but Viv Anderson will leave one more England spot.
It's really hard, mate.
It is hard, isn't it? The restrictions are hard, but I think it makes a good debate. It makes an easy debate on this one. It's really, really hard. Leroy, any other from the 80s itself? Any outstanding 80s right backs that you could possibly name off the top of your head?
Like Phil Neal the other day and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, Phil Neal from Liverpool, but that's Liverpool as well.
Yeah, it's Liverpool again as well. But no, off the top of my head, I just can't really think now. And I didn't do too much research before this on the right back position, to be fair. So it's difficult for me to sort of pluck one out of the air at the moment for the 80s. I've got to be honest with you. I should have done a bit more research.
Yeah. I thought this would have been a bit more easy. I was a bit cavalier with how I thought they would just come from the top of my head, but
I think to match young viewers, then Trent would be the right decision. Obviously, I had Laurent there.
I kind of know players, to be honest with you.
I had Laurent there. I had Ivanovic in the listing as well. There are a few, but who we're deciding on? Okay, so I'm going to decide on Laurent still from Arsenal. From the list.
Okay, I'm going to go with Viv.
I'm going to go with Viv.
Okay, so we chose Viv as the right back, yeah? Perfect. So we leave one more England spot. I think a lot of because the Premier League late, obviously from 90s onwards, has a lot of foreign imports. So I think it's easy to pick anyway up front more foreign imports as well.
So essentially, then we've only got one more English player we can choose.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's really tough, isn't it?
Really
that's really tough.
Anderson. So Anderson for Nottingham Forest.
I just did some research there as well. There was a Zabaleta for Man City as well.
Zabaleta for Man City was instrumental in their first ever Premier League win.
Yeah.
Did you go to West Ham afterwards?
I think he's at West Ham now, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Zabaleta, I'll be happy to put Zabaleta there so we can get the 10s out of the way and we can leave more English players.
Actually, on this list as well, Loren was there as well. He is an invincible as well, and he was a rough right back as well.
Yeah, he could rough it and tough it with the best of them. People used to be scared to
was
go
he
Sanders.
was he French international? Was he?
Yeah, French. Yeah,
He was actually Cameroonian.
Oh, Cameroonian. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, was he? Oh, okay. Yes.
We'll get a Cameroonian in there. I'll go for Loren.
Should we go for Lauren?
Yeah.
Well, that's two of you then. If you two both decide that, then he's in, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Lauren from Cameroon and Arsenal.
Yep.
Cool. Perfect. That's good.
I don't think many people could argue with you being in the invincible team as well.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And he's part of the naughties as well, so it's easy for us to do that as well. Good, perfect. Okay, so Cameroon. Great. Okay, cool.
In the Premier League, I mean, like right backs wasn't a super position though. You know, I can't like left back. I could think of many now. Right back was hard. Very tough.
Cool. Okay, so are we all decided on Lauren, or are we going to go for Viv Anderson?
I think we locked in Lauren already.
Lauren? Leroy, happy with that?
Yeah, because I think we've got to sort of maybe save one or two positions for the English players.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Good, perfect.
Early to give it away.
Nice. Okay, cool. So left back. I'm going to start with Leroy first, obviously because Aaron had his first shout on the right back. Leroy, who are you going to be going for the left back position?
Right. Okay. We had a few the other day as well, didn't we? Obviously, Ashley Cole's going to be everyone's number one, I think. Then you had the likes of Graham Le Saux. You had the likes of Stuart Pearce. And just trying to think of maybe some foreign names as well.
Yeah, I was thinking of Dennis Irwin from Man United.
Good shout.
Dennis Irwin.
Dennis Irwin. Yeah,
that's
cracking player.
That's who I wanted to go for, but I can't do another United player. Dennis Irwin's my number one, but I can't do it.
Because you said it was undebatable. Obviously, Dennis Irwin is number one for me as well. But the likes of I tell you what, you throw out Graham Le Saux, that's actually a really good name to put out there.
It's not a bad name out there.
Dan Petrescu.
Yeah. Dan Petrescu's a shout.
Yeah,
for Chelsea
good shout.
as
Yeah.
well. There's a lot of.
For me as well, I was going to say
one.
Patrice Evra, but obviously I can't do another United player.
The thing about the situation with Man United is that a lot of the positions can be dominated by Man United players. So I think the two max per team, if we wanted to really think outside the box for the general viewership of the channel itself, I think a lot of people would be happy with a mixed team than a dominant Man United or Liverpool or Chelsea or if it would be...
I was only calling out names. I wasn't saying that they should definitely be in there, but you're just putting them off the top of your head. Really,
it is.
Or Lee Dixon could be. Was Dicko a left?
Dicko was a right back. Yeah, because
he could have been in the debate for right back. Jesus, forgot about that.
He never got featured in the England team, innit? Because I think that was one of the players that Tony was mentioned last week that could have gone in the England team.
Matthew was talking about Winterburn the other day, didn't he?
Winterburn, Nigel Winterburn is a great one for the left back role itself.
Stuart Pearce is an interesting proposition because he played up until 40, didn't he?
Exactly.
So that's quite impressive.
Silvestri.
Yeah.
Sylvester as well. Yeah.
I know we mentioned Wayne Bridge. We mentioned Wayne Bridge the other day, didn't we?
Bridge, yeah, that's a good shout.
Wayne Bridge is a good shout.
Modern left backs.
John Arnold Risa.
Oh mate, Andy Robinson, mate.
Oh, do you remember Andy Robertson?
Yeah, for Liverpool.
Yeah. Current, yeah. Babiero.
Celestine Babby. Olivier Bernard.
Ian Hart, Leeds.
Ian Hart. That's going in. Ian Hart.
He was pretty good.
lethal free kick taker. If I can't get Dennis Irwin, then I'll go for Ian Hart.
But it was Ian Hart down the left. I'm just trying to remember.
He was down the left, indeed. Yeah, unquestionably.
There's one. There's I don't know. There's a few names that could get into the team.
Oh, yeah. Leighton Baines.
Leighton Baines. That's what I'm saying. I was about to say Leighton Baines. I was about to say him. Yeah. Man, it's a tough choice as well.
Leighton Baines was phenomenal for a little while. But how many we got left in the 80s? Because if we pick Leighton Baines, then we can't do another. Who did we pick at right back? With Anderson?
No, Arsenal.
No, wait, okay. So we got one more English player left, right? Am I correct?
We've got one Naughties players left. Yeah.
What about English?
English, we have 0 English players on the team.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we've still got 2. We've still got 2. Yeah.
Yeah, we've still got 2 English players. There's a lot to choose from. So, man, there's so many.
It's a really alternate
do you know what? Just for nation-wise, I could go for Cesar Azpilicueta for Chelsea.
It's an interesting shout. Is he left back though?
He is a left back, yeah.
I thought he was right back.
No, I think he started off left back, hasn't it? Cesar. Zabaleta could go in left back. We could bend the team a bit to fit him in, and get one of the 10s out there. But there's a lot of 10s players I could put in midfield. But I think,
Gareth Bale.
Was he started off as a left back in Southampton? Gareth Bale was actually my shout for left mid, which is weird, and I'll give my reasons for it in the upcoming when we get there. Yeah,
I'd throw him in just for at left back. Gareth Bale.
What for the naughties? For the naughties, that means we'll have no more naughties players left.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so shit.
Gareth Bale play. We could slot in Gareth Bale to the 2010s onwards if he played in left mid. That was my thinking behind it, but I don't want to cross that path until we get there. Leroy, any outstanding left backs from the 80s for you?
From the 80s, ooh, wow.
Who was left back in the 80s?
It's a tough one to think back then, to the 80s, because I'm struggling at the moment. I really am to think of an 80s defenders. I'm really struggling at the moment.
Was Kenny Sampson right back or left back for Arsenal?
I think we mentioned him the other day. Was he more? I think he was more central, wasn't he?
I thought he was a left back actually. I think Tony mentioned him as a left back. I'm trying to think, man. Left back, even right back. They're all coming back to me now. Players like Christian Ziga, Marcus Babel, they're all now that we've gone past it, it's all coming back to me. But we made our choice already. I'm going to go for.
Steve Staunton was left back for Liverpool.
Steve Staunton was a good shout,
and he's Irish as well.
Really
he's Irish as well.
Yeah.
He played from 1998 to. Sorry. He played for Liverpool debut was in '88. So.
Steve Staunton was excellent.
Warren Barton as well from Newcastle.
Yeah.
Was at Wimbledon as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was at Wimbledon previously. Yeah. I'm gonna go for. Oh, it takes away 2000s, doesn't it?
I was gonna go for maybe for the 2010s onwards. I probably could fit Azpilicueta onto left back, and he's Spanish as well, so it's easy to fit in other players. But that means we can't put any more Chelsea players in the front.
That's fine with me.
Because
I sacrifice Chelsea.
I was going to sacrifice Chelsea until I thought of Zola.
It's the defense is always a bit of a ball ache, but when you get to midfield and strikers, it's a bit better.
It flows a bit better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking. something. If we change Stam to Adams, then we can put Dennis Irwin in the left, and then Arsenal will be out of the equation.
If we change who to what?
Stam to Adams.
That's taking away an English player, though. Don't like
that. Leighton Baines will take away an English player as well. Gael Clichy?
No.
No, it wouldn't be in my best team. No.
No, he wouldn't be either. This is a hard one. Left back is a hard one.
Yeah.
It's only because of the players you can't pick. Do you know what I mean? Like off the top of your head, this could just flow, but some very disruptive rules, David. Yeah, Zabaleta.
We'll put Zabaleta, yeah?
Yeah.
We'll fit in Zabaleta because the situation is if we do that, then he can be the 2010 onwards. And that is, I think that's a great. I think that's.
I'm not happy with it, but I'll have to put him in.
Cool. So, Leroy, happy with Zabaleta?
Yeah, I mean, superb player, excellent player, longevity. You know,
he played
in a great team as well.
9 years for Man City. 9 years.
Yeah.
That is a long time.
He's obviously won a Premiership with Man City as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'll be happy to go along with him. I'll be happy to go along with him, to be honest.
Okay.
Ian Hart was a good shout.
Yeah. Was he an Irish lad? Hart.
Yeah. But he would go under 90s, wouldn't he?
Yes, I think so. So we've got 2 from the noughties, 1 from the 90s, 1 from the 80s, and 1 from 2010s onwards. I think Zabaleta's a great shout here on this. I think that's a very good name you came up with.
I like him because he's Man City, but yeah, we'll put him in.
Because obviously we're kind of mentioning, obviously, Leroy, we're going back to you earlier, kind of including players that we've seen in the last decade that's memorable.
To be honest, all I'm doing is preserving for the latter.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we all decided on Zabaleta?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll go with it.
I mean, we could always do it. We could do an unrestricted team later on in the future and just have all Man United players there, and if we wanted, mate. Could have all Man United players if we wanted. Okay, cool. So Zabaleta's in locked in. Okay, guys. So we're going for the CDM and Cam like we did last week, or the left mid or right mid?
I'll leave that up to Leroy.
Go middle first. Let's let David kick this one off. Yeah.
Let me kick this one off. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go for Vinnie Jones, the centre defensive midfielder. So Matt, that's on for you, mate. Vinnie Jones, unquestionably the hardest football player I've ever seen in my lifetime. And that is it, mate. He used to foul people when they didn't have the ball. So that is. But for technically gifted, I would go for Claude Makelele for Chelsea.
Oh, good shout. Even the Spitfire said too many options.
It is
in
too
the
options.
Yeah, so Claude Makelele, that's a good shout.
I was originally going to go for Vinnie Jones, but Vinnie Jones does eliminate an English player from this team. And that is tough one.
Welsh.
Vinnie Jones is Welsh.
Welsh.
Was he Welsh?
Yeah.
I thought he was English.
Yeah.
Wait a sec. I need to do some research on that one.
No, I don't remember him getting an English cap. I can't actually remember him playing for Wales, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, national team Wales. He played 3 years for Wales. Yeah, that's my bad. That one. But that's good. That's good for the nations. I tell you.
I'm not seriously going to put Vinnie Jones in there. Really, he's a dirty bastard. But he's a good, decent player, but he's not in any all-time 11.
We would have loved to seen Vinnie Jones go with a scrap with Roy Keane, but that would be leave for another story. I was going to go for Claude Makelele from the noughties for Chelsea.
Yeah.
That will eliminate, of course, any more noughties players, but Claude Makelele, and from this era, I would go for N'Golo Kante.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, he'll have to be in there.
N'Golo Kante, since Makelele, is the most pure defensive midfielder I've ever seen.
So we're just debating defensive midfielder here, not the attacking one.
Yeah, with I'm just going for defensive midfielder for the time being. For attacking midfielder, I would have gone for Glenn Hoddle.
For me, I'd probably have to put put Graham Souness.
Graham Souness for the defensive
very
midfielder.
tough lad. Tough man.
Yeah,
Souness, for defensive midfielder for Liverpool, that would be a great shout as well. It's a hard one.
The man from Cork, Roy Keane.
Mm-hmm.
I could put him as a Nottingham Forest player and not as a Man United player as well.
Yeah, for the 90s, I would do that as well.
Not bad shout.
That's actually not bad, actually, Aaron. That's a thinking outside the box, mate.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest.
So Roy Keane's in there.
Leroy, yourself, defensive midfielder.
Defensive midfield.
I've gone for Kante and Makelele. I've had a choice of Kante, Makelele. Aaron's gone from Graham Souness and Roy Keane for Nottingham Forest. Who would your pick?
Okay, Gareth Barry was quite a good for me defensive midfielder. You know, you might not mention him in your sort of first 11, but when you're talking about defensive midfielders, you know, for me, he was solid there.
He was an engine, wasn't he?
We mentioned David Batty the other day. It got quite a lot of laughs, didn't it? I don't want to start all that up again. No, but he's obviously a solid defender again as well. I think Scott Parker was pretty solid.
Scott Parker's a good shout. Someone said Nick Davids in the comments. I don't think he was that effective at Tottenham.
Yeah, he wasn't that effective, but he was incredible player.
It's a good shout for a defensive midfielder, though.
I was going to throw another one out there. Paul Ince for Middlesbrough.
Nah, not for Middlesbrough. For United, but because he was in retirement stage for Middlesbrough, wasn't he?
Yeah,
really?
But you know, he could have fit him. But I kind of leaning towards Roy Keane for Nottingham Forest. So he gets in there, so we can bend the rules a bit.
So obviously we picked Viv Anderson from Nottingham Forest. That'll be the end of Nottingham Forest for Leroy, then, wouldn't it?
No, we didn't pick Viv. We picked Lauren. From Arsenal.
We picked
Lauren.
We picked Lauren. Yeah, we picked Lauren from Arsenal.
Oh, so we got another Forest player in there, all right?
We can put Forest, yeah.
For basically being the most inspirational captain. But N'Golo Kante is an excellent shout as well. Because the guys, he won back-to-back Premier Leagues, was an absolute revelation.
Leicester.
You never seen anything like the kid.
I would actually put him for Leicester instead of Chelsea. So we can still have Chelsea in there, because that guy for Leicester, he practically won them the Premier League. Well, apart from obviously Vardy and Mahrez up in there.
For effectiveness, you got to put N'Golo Kante in there. But also for leadership and all the other stuff, you have to put Roy Keane.
I mean,
Roy Keane,
I put Roy Keane, or for leadership, I'll probably go for Patrick Vieira as well.
Big Pat's in there as well,
Yeah, Big Pat.
Yeah.
Fellaini.
Come on, mate, don't start.
Fellaini for Man United.
We could also put Xabi Alonso.
Xavi Alonso for Liverpool. That's a very, very good one.
Would Fabregas fit in that category?
Fabregas would certainly get in there.
Fabregas will definitely get in there. I would probably.
He was a computer.
He was a computer. Yeah. Nemanja Matic for Chelsea in their glory times. A little bit.
Shout.
Because he was great as well, but I think N'Golo Kante was a bit more effective than Matic for Chelsea.
You can say Lee Bowyer for Leeds.
Lee Bowyer. Leroy, yourself, any of the kind of recent players that you're thinking of that could be off the top of your head?
Recent right now? Yeah, I mean,
apart from N'Golo Kante, because I think he's the only one that's purely.
Yeah, I think Spurs have had a couple of decent sort of strong midfielders, haven't they? Like Dembele's and what's the other boy there? The other big lad there.
Dembele's a great one.
Yeah.
No longer there anymore.
No, he's not there anymore. Yeah, but
at the beginning of his tenure, though, he was a very good player.
Goes there as well, isn't he? He's not really top-notch material.
Okay, for me, I'm leaning towards N'Golo Kante. For me,
N'Golo Kante. Oh shit!
I would like to go for Claude Makelele, but it's either between Claude Makelele, N'Golo Kante, or Roy Keane for Nottingham Forest.
I'm gonna go for N'Golo Kante.
Leroy?
Sorry, Kino.
Well, if both of you are going to go for him, then I'm not going to be able to win anyway. But
no, I don't know. I think I'm leaning. I want a captain. I want a natural captain in midfielder. I don't think any of the other positions could fit a captainship role as much as Kino.
Well, what about Steven Gerrard then?
It's not really pure defensive, though, is he? Okay, I'm going to go for N'Golo Kante. I've made up my mind. I'm going for
Roy Keane. Okay, yeah, Roy Keane.
Okay, Aaron's going for Roy Keane.
I'm going for Gareth Barry.
So we're fucked. Okay. I'm going to swing for Roy Keane. Nottingham Forest.
Aaron, what are you going with?
No, Roy Keane.
Nottingham Forest.
Okay, Keane on Forest. Not going to argue.
Keane on Forest. That's it. We locked that one in. I think that's great because he's Irish as well. So it's.
I mean United, but we'll say Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, we cheated there. We done a map there for this back.
He was absolute quality at Nottingham Forest.
He was.
For a young lad who came from Cork.
At Forest.
Yeah, but
I think Ferguson matured him into a defensive.
He did, yeah, I think so, yeah. So Republic of Ireland. I'm not going to put just Ireland because the Northern Irish fans will go nuts. I'm going to put Rep.Ireland. So we're going to go for Kino from Forest. Yeah. Okay, cool. So our attacking midfielder. Now, this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be super tough. I was going to go for Glenn Hoddle for Tottenham in the 80s.
Yes, very, very reasonable shout.
There's a few I came up with. I came up with from the 80s, probably Glenn Hoddle. From the 90s, I would have put Paul Scholes there next to Keane.
Shit, yeah.
I would have definitely put Scholes there ahead of Lampard and Gerrard all day long.
I don't know, but if we're looking at attacking, Scholes was a archetypal Xavi player where you sit there and dictate the pace. Whereas, when you're looking at your Lampards and stuff like that, they were.
Lampard did have a goal ratio of unprecedented amounts, doesn't it?
Goal scoring midfielders.
Leroy, I have a question for you. Who would be your favourite? Scholes, Lampard, or Gerrard? We have that little debate in a little. Who's your favourite?
Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard. Okay, I'll have to say Gerrard for me. Yeah. I think he just gives you that bit more, doesn't he, than the other two? I think his engine, his energy, his spirit, and he's just all round. I think for me it would be Gerrard out of the three of them.
And I put this in the chat under Jarrow's post, in it, that Scholes was the inspiration for Pirlo, Xavi, Iniesta, everyone, pretty much. All the modern generation type footballers based their style off Paul Scholes. And even Zidane said he would have loved to play with Paul Scholes.
I'm going to throw a spanner in the works here. I'm going to say JJ Okocha.
Yes, that's a good one for Bolton,
yeah? Yeah. He could do some tricks with the ball as well, couldn't he? Like he was
to put someone else like that in.
He's a legendary player, Okocha, by far. Especially for Bolton. For Bolton, he's like memorized for Bolton. Him.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
I'm not sure he stayed here for very long. Even Djorkaeff was a rude boy down there at Bolton.
Djorkaeff was really amazing player.
Just trying to be a bit more
varied, with the teams and stuff.
And Gary Speed.
Attacking.
What about for Leeds?
Gary McAllister.
Yeah. that Leeds team was good.
For
Yeah,
argument's sake, I was gonna go for Lampard.
I'd rather give that to Stevie G.
We have to put one of them in there. If we don't put one of them in there, we're going to be slated for the rest of our lives. But Glenn Hoddle was more technically gifted than I think.
Stevie Gerrard never won a Premier League.
Gascoigne for Tottenham, but he's been in every team that we selected, even our Europe team he's been in for Lazio.
Yeah, no, I'm going to allow Gascoigne on this.
We'll leave Gascoigne for this because he wasn't. I don't think he was that.
After '95, he was kind of useless in the Premier League. To be fair, I mean, he was at Rangers anyway at that time. So,
Rangers.
What was Jorginho for Middlesbrough? Was he more attacking or defensive?
Jorginho for Middlesbrough was attacking.
Oh, he definitely had Jorginho Palista.
I think he's the best free kick taker I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Arguably with Beckham and Roberto.
I don't think we're talking about Pernambucano. We're talking about Paulista.
Oh, you're talking about Paulista.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of Jorginho.
That was the Leon one.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. No, because he come up with Emerson. Was it Emerson as well? Yeah.
Because Arsenal didn't really have. I mean, I would have put Bergkamp more up front than.
I was thinking Bergkamp bring him back into AM, but if we're gonna do that, I'll probably put Zola there.
I would probably put Zola there as well for Italian ballsers. I would definitely put Zola there.
Mm.
Oh, something just came to me, and I haven't googled this or looked at it or anything. Yeah. I just thought of Ray Parlour.
Ray Parlour's right.
Was he more attacking?
He's a right midfielder, isn't it? Ray Parlour.
Was he not in the middle? No.
He was right.
I think he played in the middle sometimes, but I think he was more of a right winger.
Because do you know who we forgot to mention? Petit in defensive midfielder.
Yeah, I was thinking of him as well. Yeah.
Right. So you know what? I'm actually gonna go for Ruud Gullit.
Yes, that's Chelsea. The one. Ruud Gullit for Chelsea. That is a great shout. That's it. That's a standout shout. He was obviously for Milan. He was miles better.
And Sampdoria and all that. But just for his name, just put a respect on his name. I'm going to put him in there.
Leroy, who are you going to go for?
So we're still defensive midfield, yeah?
No, attacking.
No, attacking.
We're attacking now. We've moved on to attacking. Okay. Attacking midfield. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. I was going to say Stevie G. I was going to say Stevie G, you know.
I think for attacking midfielder, we need to come up with two names so we can correspond with one another and see which one's the best for attacking midfielder.
In all honesty, Ruud Gullit was a bit of a romance there. I would probably put Steven Gerrard as well.
Steven Gerrard, okay. I was going to go for Gianfranco Zola, but apart from Gianfranco Zola, more fitted into the shadow striker role anyway. So maybe we can debate about that later. So Stevie Gerrard is going in the attacking midfield role.
I think so.
Yep. So Liverpool's locked in, so we can't have any more Liverpool players. I'm happy with that, to be honest.
I think we'll do fine with that. Yeah.
I think we'll do fine with that. Cool. So Steven Gerrard. Yeah. Cool. So Gerrard from the noughties, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. England and Liverpool. Perfect. Okay. So Liverpool and England. Cool. Okay. So we're going to go for the left midfield now. Before we move into the right, because the right midfield is going to be highly debated, I can tell.
Kind of indisputable, the left-hand side of midfield, isn't it?
What, Ryan Giggs?
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Now, okay, guys, the situation is, I think we need to talk. We can't talk about the left midfield without having the right midfield, because I was going to put Cristiano Ronaldo on the right midfield instead of Beckham. Instead of Beckham. So,
mate. I mean, for effect,
Cristiano Ronaldo is.
But he pissed me off because he left United for a moment, and so did Beckham as well.
Guys, we can't have Cristiano Ronaldo. We've locked in 3 noughties players.
Oh, mate.
It was maximum 3, wasn't it? Already, yeah. So would he be the So he would be the 4th, so we can't do it now.
He went to Real Madrid in 2009. No, wait. No, wait. I'm losing my marbles here. He went to 2011, didn't he?
No, I think it was 10. He stayed
1
more year.
2009. I was correct the first time. 2009. That is really bad. That is really bad.
Oh well, Ronaldo can't be in it. Oh well.
So are we on the left still? Now are we starting off on the left?
On the left, yeah.
Oh mate.
Yeah. So couple of names then. Darren Anderton, but I don't think he's going to quite get in. But I thought I'd mention him. You got Gareth Bale. Do you remember a player called Asprilla from Newcastle? Didn't he play on the left?
Asprilla. I think he was centre forward, Lee.
Oh, was he forward? Was he? Okay, because I could just imagine him doing these runs down the left as well. But
I think Newcastle,
David Ginola, because he played with him as well, didn't he?
David Ginola, guy.
Yeah.
Ginola, yeah.
Ginola's a great one. That is a great one.
Good candidate. Yeah.
Really good. Yeah. Really good. There's a lot of here I'm thinking of.
Mark Overmars.
Overmars for Arsenal is an absolute ballsers. But I was thinking of getting a noughties player in there.
I thought we ran out.
No, sorry, 10 was onwards. And putting Eden Hazard in there.
I never really liked him. Never really liked the lad.
So we've got one more player from the 90s. Nationalities were kind of all the way in there. We can choose any nationality we want.
I was thinking about.
We know Liverpool's gone, haven't they? We can't do Liverpool players.
No, Liverpool's gone. If we pick Giggs for left mid, we can't put Beckham for right mid.
I mean, Giggs is probably the most honoured midfielder of all time.
Yeah, for longevity, yes, he is. Yeah, for just sticking at Man United all his life, he's like, that's it.
Who else are we debating on the left hand side then? Because I
mean, there's a few I probably could mention. Let me see.
We would have had Matt Maniman, but Liverpool gone.
Off the top of my head, maybe Harry Kewell for Leeds.
I was thinking Harry Kewell, but not effective enough. Too injury prone.
Damien Duff for Chelsea. Mourinho's Chelsea.
A good shout.
Stephen Maniman can't be Ian Robin for Chelsea as well.
Not here long enough.
John Barnes we can't pick because Liverpool's done. Mark Overmars.
John Barnes actually played for Newcastle and Charlton Athletic in the 90s.
That's true.
If you wanted to be technical.
If you wanted to be, yeah. Freddie Ljungberg is a good winger.
Freddie Ljungberg is a good shout.
Robert Pires.
Could we not be cheeky and put Thierry Henry on my left?
He did start out there. He did. Okay, for me, I have to pick 3 players here to do it. It's between Gareth Bale for 10s onwards, David Ginola. Are we going for Newcastle or Tottenham, David Ginola?
Newcastle.
Newcastle, I would say. Yeah.
He's wicked left foot. Or Ryan Giggs. That's my 3. Ryan Giggs, Gareth Bale, and David Ginola.
Does Giggs go in then? Or does he's
But it depends on your 3. I mean, whoever you pick for 3 players that you can think out of the top, then we will lock in one.
My 3 will be Overmars. Are we do so? 80s is done now, is it?
80s, no, 80s isn't done. But I've got a good player for 80s. I've got a good player for 80s. And
2010s isn't finished yet.
Yeah, 2010s isn't finished yet.
So if I'm thinking who has been the best midfielder of the 2010 to 20 in this decade, it's probably Eden Hazard, right?
Yeah, true. Eden Hazard, I think, is the best. Or Gareth Bale for Tottenham.
I'd probably go for Bale because I don't like Hazard.
Leroy, you said Bale in the beginning. What made Bale stand out for you itself?
Well, I just think when he was at Spurs, he was,
fresh air.
One of their main players, weren't he? I mean, everything seemed to come through him, and I just remember his darting runs down the channel produced quite a sort of decent ball in there as well, didn't he? Like, he had a good cross on him as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Let's not forget, it cost Real Madrid 90 million quid as well. So, top player.
If we put David Ginola in, we can't have any more 90s players.
The thing is, I can't forgive myself if the thing is, so Beckham's, for me now, in this position, is do I prefer Beckham or do I prefer Giggs? That's what my conundrum is right now.
Who would stand out for you more over the effect in Man United? Who would stand out for more? Giggs, I'm guessing.
Giggs had some poor seasons in there though.
Beckham had all good seasons. It's true.
Yeah,
I think I pretty much made up my mind who I'm going to go for, and I know Giggs was a phenomenal player, and no one's ever going to forget that goal he scored in the cup finals.
Arsenal,
I think I'm going to stay with David Ginola. You know,
yes, I was going to go for David.
That's going to be my first choice.
I was going to go for David Ginola as well in the 90s for Newcastle.
For Newcastle, yeah.
Because I need to have that guy in the team as well, mate. David Ginola. It's like,
I'll join you guys. I will agree on Ginola.
Agree on Ginola. That means we can't have any 90s players in there. We can't have any more 90s if we lock this in.
That's right, because Shearer goes into.
That's okay. We've only got 3 more left to choose anyway, so I think we'll do all right.
Perfect.
I think.
Okay, so Ginola is in there. I mean, what I saw with Ginola was it was like a Zidane on the left mid, pretty much.
Yeah,
if you would have put
very good player, very good player.
So we put him for Newcastle or Tottenham? Newcastle, yeah.
Newcastle.
Yeah, we're gonna go Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle. That's it. And then French. Cool.
I think he scored better goals than Giggsy, didn't he?
Well, nobody can top that. Nobody can top that Arsenal goal, isn't it?
Let's not rub too much salt in the wounds.
Okay, let's move on then. Let's move on.
So far, guys, let's read over teams so far. I think it's a great team so far. We've got Czech in goal, Naughty's Chelsea, Alan Hansen, Jaap Stam, Laurent Zabaleta, Ginola, Keane, Gerrard. Now on the right mid, we can't have any more 90s players. We're done with that. But Beckham can fall into the noughties, which we can't have anymore. Can we have any more noughties players? No, we're done with noughties as well.
Are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah, we're done with noughties as well.
I thought Beckham was a shoo-in.
I thought he was as well.
Oh, mate, no, we'll have to leave Beckham out. It's a travesty.
Right mid. 80s. Who was the standout 80s right mid, Leroy? Who was crossing the balls for you in the 80s?
Mate, again, struggling. I'm going to be totally honest with you, man. Even I just cannot think of many 80s players at the moment. Honestly.
Yeah,
it's one of those ones, man.
This is where like Tony would have been very good for this because he came out with a corkers from the 80s. But yeah, if I can't have David Beckham on the right, then what have we got left? 10s to 20 and 80 to 90.
We got 180s, 180s. We finished the 90s. We finished the 90s and noughties already. What?
Well, let's go for either Peter Beardsley or Chris Waddle.
Yeah, I would say so as well.
Were they over on the right? Yeah.
Pete Beardsley was definitely right. Because I remember Les Ferdinand was saying Peter Beardsley used to just cross him from the right hand side straight on his nut. So for Newcastle, so I'll probably go with Peter Beardsley. If I can't have David.
This is tough, mate. I would put, mate. Even though he is, but for the last few seasons he's been smashing it. Raheem Sterling on the right.
Is that the last 2010s to 20 player?
Yeah.
So then what we got left for the strike?
We have one more. We have one more 2010s, and I've got a pretty good idea for 2010s already, mate. To be honest, how can I not have Thierry Henry in here and Bergkamp? What's going on? That's difficult.
Oh mate.
Mate, I might.
Right.
Right mid. For 10s and 80s we have left. We may need to do a swap around with one of these players because
right mid 80s.
I think right mid 80s because if we put Hoddle in Gerrard's position, for example, we can have Beckham in there.
mate.
But I want to keep it, mate. I want to keep it.
Anyway, in your all-time Forest 11, who did you put on? Who did you put in the left and right?
Do you know what? I think I put Steve Stone. You know, yeah.
Steve Stone, yeah.
But he wouldn't get into this team though.
It's I'm thinking of teams now because it's only the 80s and 2010 we got left now, right?
Yes.
Damn it.
Because for me, I look. It's, I can't.
Thinking of England at that time, we got how many English players we put in?
We only put one.
One.
I was leaning towards Sterling. Right mid, mate.
Sterling's not a bad shout because he kind of represents the now as well, doesn't he?
He does. And for right mid now, Mahrez for Leicester and Man City.
Yeah,
but he doesn't fit into the all-time greats, Mahrez. No. He doesn't.
Yeah.
This is tough, mate.
I can't believe I'm shirking on the 80s so much. I just can't think of them, and I don't. I'm not googling them either. keeping the integrity of the whole thing. If I can't remember them, I remember them. Sterling, is he too young for it now?
Do you know what?
I think he's done enough already. Sterling has.
Okay, guys. If we look, I'm kind of.
You know what? I'm gonna. Oh, sorry.
I don't want to swap out Keane, but for a night to have one more 90s, I would put N'Golo Kante in Keane's position. No, but we can't because we can because we have still one more French player. But if I put N'Golo Kante in there, I wouldn't be able to put Cantona up front.
Cantona's going in there, mate. There's no doubt about that. I'm not messing about. No, we can't, can he? He can't because we can only pick all.
You've had a few French players already, haven't we?
Yeah. Or we can put Glenn Hoddle in Gerrard's position, and then we have one more noughties player in there.
I'm quite happy with Gerrard in there.
This team is looking weirdly complicated.
I think we're going to have to be a bit more lenient on the restrictions next time.
Yeah, we will be.
So can we not go along with Sterling then? Because I kind of think that's a good shout.
I think Sterling's good. I mean, in its entirety, Sterling from Liverpool to Man City is transitioned well, to be honest.
Let's go with Sterling then.
Go with Sterling for the younger viewers.
That's a brilliant shout. Yeah.
I think Sterling has been one of the outstanding players of the last decade for me, personally.
Well, when I finish this video and I go back through a lot of players in my head, I'm going to kick myself for some of these decisions. But when my memory actually comes back, it's going to be like that.
Yeah, no, Sterling deserves a lot of props anyway because, he's gone through a lot of sort of controversy with the media and stuff like that, and he seems to have come out the other side now as well. So as well as his footballing, I think he's also proving to be kind of like a leader as well now. He's showing that kind of mentality.
I've absolutely shot myself in the foot here. I've done I put Man City now for Sterling, and I can't put Aguero up front because we have Zabaleta in the left back.
Oh, so you can't put Sterling for Liverpool?
No, I can't.
Oh, we're done. Liverpool's done as well, isn't it? Yeah.
I can't. Oh God.
So what? Have we only got 80s left for strikers?
We've got 80s and 10s left for strikers.
80s and
10s. And the only good striker in the 10s has been Aguero.
I wouldn't say that. Harry Kane's been great.
I can't put Harry Kane in this team for me. This is difficult. Okay, guys, we can make a team and then we can rearrange players later. It can be easily rearranged.
No, I think once we've decided, we can't really go back and undo it. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Once it's done, it's done.
I can't even put Bergkamp in this.
In the 10s.
I can't put Bergkamp.
So I'm going to go for Van Persie.
Van Persie, yeah?
In 10s.
For Man United?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you have one more Man United player. Oh wait. Oh no, I would have put Van Nistelrooy if he was later.
Nice. Too early, yeah.
If he would
He
have
left in
later.
So yeah.
Do you know? I was gonna have a rush out here, put Zlatan just to be in the team, mate.
No, not.
No. Okay, so best strikers of the last few years, mates. Oh, great! I found one. Oh, I can't find him. Suarez is Liverpool. I can't put him in.
That's what I would have.
No.
Well, the ones that you're thinking you can't. That's why you have to go with the ones you can. And I think Van Persie will have to be in there. And then we've got another one from the 80s.
I was going to put Kenny Dalglish, but I can't put Dalglish because he's Scottish. Because he's from Liverpool.
He only played for Liverpool as well, didn't he?
Yeah. Kenny Dalglish. I would have bent it to the rules to the 70s, and have a wild card and just put George Best up front. That's fine. Put Pele in the team, but he never played in England.
We could do Lineker again for the
Lineker can be
80s.
No, we can't because it's England.
Do Graham Sharp for Everton. He was lethal in the 80s. How about a Forest striker, Lee? You said Bertels, didn't you?
It would have been Bertels in the 80s. Yeah,
you had to put Van Hooyd on, couldn't it?
Yeah. That's more 90s Van Hooyd.
Did we say Kevin Keegan? He's still again, isn't it? He can't do anyone in Liverpool.
This is a hard one. This one.
Shearer.
This is proving to be tough.
Shearer started in the 80s at Southampton. Ian Wright for Crystal Palace.
I tell you what, Ian Wright for Crystal Palace. That's good, but we can't have any more English players. We have 2.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Ronnie Rosenthal. Again, it's only synonymous players that are coming to my head. Like,
if only Cantona started 3 years before, we could have squeezed him in.
I think Cantona definitely arrived at Leeds in 1990.
92, he's arrived in Leeds.
Moved to United
92, he arrived in Leeds.
Was it really?
Yeah.
When did he move to United? 93. 1 year at Leeds, was it? I think it might have been 1 year under Had Wilkinson and then he left, didn't it?
Guys, okay, I found a solution.
David Hurst. Oh no, what English players? Shit.
I found a solution. Yeah. If we put Bale on the left mid, we can have Cantona up front.
Done.
Yeah?
Yeah, done for me.
Do you want to do that?
Because I weren't really too happy with Ginola anyway.
We're taking Ginola out, yeah?
To put Cantona in.
To put Cantona in, I would do that.
I'm going to put.
I love Cantona over Ginola, so it's one of those ones, really, isn't it?
But we could put any 90s striker in it for. No, we can't. We can't put Shearer because he's English.
Yeah, just expedite the.
So we're swapping out Ginola for Gareth Bale. Yeah, for the 10s onwards for Tottenham. And we're going for Wales as well. And then Cantona. Leroy, what's your thoughts on Cantona from your perspective?
Yeah, man. The master craftsman, man. I mean, Cantona, man, you know what I mean? He's just one of those players who just played with this, elegance,
Yeah.
So, my man could finesse the football, and the best thing about him I like was his control, the way he used to just kill a ball and then strike it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Who I was? Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, go on.
So that was really rude. Sorry, I'll wait for Leo to finish.
That's all right. No, it's just the way he could finesse the ball. I used to really enjoy watching him playing.
Yeah, go on, Leroy. Sorry.
Someone just put Chris Sutton on the thing, on the chat. That's not a bad shout.
That's not a bad shout, Chris.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking Laurie Cunningham, but like that on the left hand side. But then it's another English player already. It's just we should have done our research a bit better on this one. But I think it's a fair team. So
It's Cantona
we've just
front.
got a partner for Cantona now, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going for Cantona. That guy needs to go in. He's one of the best strikers I've seen in Premier League history, by far. So
Okay,
90s, and then Man United, and then French. Oh, God.
So we've only got a 2010 striker to pick now.
We've got one 2010s or an 80s player to pick.
Well,
No,
is there another 80s
no,
in
no,
there?
no. 10s is finished. 90s is finished. So 90s is finished. Noughties
80s
is
now,
finished.
isn't
Yeah, 80s.
Oh, wow. Chris Sutton won in the 80s, was he? No.
No.
Alan Shearer was at Southampton.
But
You're
he's
kidding.
English, he's English, so we can't put one more than.
So foreign exports in the 80s for English,
or Scottish or
Irish,
Irish, yeah. What about I was gonna say Rush, but he's at Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool, yeah.
Ian Rush would have probably instantaneously been in there for the 80s. Was Graham Sharp, was he English or Scottish? For Everton.
Oh yeah, Andy Gray was pretty good. You know, the ex Sky Sports pundit.
Yeah.
He was a really good striker. But whether he'd go in the
it's hard to decide. It's hard.
I'll probably go for Ian Wright, just because I love him.
We can't have him because he's English.
Oh, I keep on forgetting the English rule. Oh, that's shit, man.
Yeah.
The thing is, in the 80s, it wasn't really good for foreign exports. It only started in the 90s, so we're a bit in a rock and a hard place, really, thinking about it. With
Gary Lineker's thingy. If we change our formation to a 4-3-2, a 4-2-3-1, we can have another attacking mid from the 80s. But that doesn't make a difference, does it? It doesn't make a difference because it's the same thing. Because the foreign imports didn't start coming in until the 90s onwards.
It'd be nice to have a conference with Clive and Tony here. Phone a friend.
Yeah, the only names that are really ringing out are like you say, is Keegan, isn't it? But if you're talking about top draw, you know what I mean, to get into this team, I don't think there's much 80s names other than Keegan. As a prolific striker.
Any Tottenham players? Because they were quite multicultural. Didn't they have the two Argentinian lads?
Yeah, Ardiles and
Ricky Villa.
Yeah, but I don't think they're getting over Keegan.
Keegan's. We can't have any more English people in there, though. Ipswich had a decent team.
What English player? So from the top of my head, another player pairing to Cantona would either be the likes of Shearer, someone like Azola, someone on the lines of we can't put a tens in there, can we? No. I would say Aguero. Henry would have been the best to pair up. We have another French slot, but we don't have another 90 slot, a 2000 slot. Okay, so if we can't put Viv Anderson on the right and swap for Laurent to change the strike up there. God help me.
Was Dwight York in the 80s?
No.
Because he was a trainee at United in the 80s.
Oh mate, if only Dennis Bergkamp came to the Premier League in the 80s, I would have been sorted right now. But he didn't. Matt would have been like, yeah, he played one match for the youth team in the 80s, so he's in there. Matt would have fought proper outside the box.
Yeah, I don't know about for foreign player in the 80s. The only one that comes to mind really is I don't know if he was at Liverpool after, but would be like Ronnie Rosenthal.
Was he? What nationality was he? Was he
Israeli?
Israeli. That's it. Yeah. Israeli.
But as for the UK having many, there probably was, but I'm failing to find any 80s. So we're either going to have to swap a player out to get
the perfect team, yeah,
an English player for the 80s in, or just put someone off the top of the head there, really. Let's say, let's have a look at the state of play now. If I get my phone, here we go.
From the right mid now in the 10s.
I would take Sterling out.
Yeah, for a 10s player, but who would we put instead of Sterling for the right mid? There's a lot of good right mids now at the moment. In the last decade, from 2010 onwards, Man United, when they started, who was your right mid from 10 words to?
Antonio Valencia, so that's not going to be very good, is it?
No. He's not too bad though, Valencia. He's all right. Arsenal onwards, no. Chelsea.
Just thinking about teams under United, Arsenal, and that, like Aston Villas and stuff like that. Ashley Young was good when he was young.
Ashley Young was good when he was young.
You know that one.
Forgive the pun.
Yeah.
No, I'm struggling. I am absolutely struggling to find this striker. So you're thinking about swapping Sterling out, then are we now? And then maybe getting sort of
Sterling has
a more
been rated,
recent place.
Sterling has been rated one of the best right mids of the past decade.
I would. I think Sterling's probably the weakest link in there because I'm having Bale on the left hand side. I think that's correct.
Bale's all right, yeah.
Gerrard I'm keeping in. Keane I'm keeping in. Zabaleta could go out, and Lauren as well. To be fair, but if
Zabaleta goes out, we can have an 80s left back. Yeah, and then we can put Aguero up front with Cantona.
We still got the confinements of where they're from, nationality-wise, though. That's the only thing. You put too many conditions in there, Dave.
Maybe I should have put 3 max per nation, but I think 2 max per nation. It does.
Is it 3 max or 2 max?
No, it's 2 max.
Should have put 3, man.
I'm struggling here, man. Can't think of the solution at the moment.
This is the solution. I can't think of a bloody foreign striker in the 80s. That's the only thing.
The thing is, ideally, I would like to put a foreign striker. I would like to put an 80s striker up front because the 80s, obviously, I would probably put Lineker for Tottenham up front, or obviously Ian Rush was Welsh, but Liverpool have enough. I don't want to swap out Alan Hansen, mate, because it's not the nations that's causing us problems. It's the teams. Liverpool have already fit in 2 slots here.
So, what Liverpool players do you want to take out?
I would probably take out Alan Hansen. No, but Alan Hansen. But who was a dominant centre back from the 80s?
Terry Butcher.
Terry Butcher. Yeah. We didn't have Butcher as well in the last team.
Who else was there as well? Well, we could even do Leroy's shout with Des Walker as well.
Des Walker, yeah.
Who else could we do?
There's always an Englishman though. Can we still put an Englishman in there?
What about a Lucas Radebe shout from David?
Lucas Radebe is a good one. Yeah.
Had a decent career in the Premier League from '92 until 2006 or something like that. It's a decent career.
He joined Leeds in '94.
Was he South African?
I think JM in the comments has kind of backed me up with the Aussie Ardiles thing as well.
The striker from the '80s.
Yeah. But he wasn't that great though. He's got a good goal, I think, in the cup and all that for Tottenham. But to go, he's just basically solving a problem and not being actually what we want in there. I wish Jurgen.
It's hard because I tell you, man, Andy Gray was a phenomenal striker from the '80s, but because you guys probably don't remember seeing some of his goals, it's difficult for me to justify it.
Yeah.
But I would be quite happy to put him in there. And Ozzy Ardiles isn't a bad shout either. I've got to be honest with you, from the '80s striker. But like you say, with Andy Gray, I think that's another one of those ones where we can't put another English guy in, isn't it? So.
Okay, so I was thinking a little bit more outside the box. And I was thinking, if we put Vincent Kompany instead of Jaap Stam.
No way. Stop it. I'm not even entertaining them words there.
I tell you, Vincent Kompany had a better record than Jaap Stam overall, in terms of his longevity for Man City.
I tell you what, I'm going to go with because Everton won 2 titles in '86 and '87, right? And they had Graham Sharp up front with Andy Gray as well and Lineker as well. And Graham Sharp scored lots of goals for Everton. So did Andy Gray, and they were great strike force. So Graham Sharp's Scottish as well. So for me,
that's a good shot.
It's Andy Gray or Graham Sharp.
That's it. Andy Gray's Scottish, isn't he? Of course, yeah.
I would go then for 111 goals. I would probably go for Graham Sharp then.
He was a great goal scorer.
What, Sharpie scored more goals than Andy Gray?
Yeah.
Andy Gray for the banter as well would be great. And Andy Gray only scored 14 goals for Everton.
Wolves, he's at Wolves as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he scored 38 goals for Wolves and 5 for Aston Villa.
I was thinking about Steve Bull as well, but he's English, isn't he?
Graham Sharp's a great shout, mate.
I think we'll have to give it to Sharpie just to sort of
to balance it out.
Yeah, and
it's not a bad shout though. I remember him clearly from the '80s, and he was one of the most renowned goal scorers at the time for Everton.
I think Sharp is a good shout, mate.
Where did Jan Molby play?
He's midfield, wasn't he? Was he more central midfield?
He was a bloody Liverpool player as well. You can't really put him there. I'm happy to go with Graham Sharp.
Graham Sharp, Everton.
Yeah,
80s.
I'm happy with that. He kind of fits the bill, doesn't he? I mean, with what we've got left, he kind of just fits in there neatly, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. What was his playing style? Was it more of a clinical striker, or was it more of a shadow striker?
I think Lineker was the main. Or was Lineker not the main man? Lee would have to tell us really, because I'm not.
Yeah. He could score from outside the box, but mainly inside the box, I believe. I think he was mainly scoring headers and sort of just around the box as well. I don't remember him scoring screamers from outside the box.
I've only watched videos on BT Sports about Graham Sharp, and
he just had a good shot from him in and around the box. Yeah.
Well, that's our provisional team for the time being. Obviously, we're probably not going to swap any players, but our provisional team is Cech in goal, Alan Hansen, obviously phenomenal defender and centre back. Jaap Stam, also a brick house in the back. Laurent from Arsenal. Zabaleta from Man City, Sterling from Man City on the right mid, Gerrard midfield, Keane from Nottingham Forest and Republic of Ireland, Gareth Bale from 2010s onwards for Tottenham and Wales, Cantona for 90s Man United, I think arguably probably one of the top 3 Premier League strikers of all time. And Sharp, obviously, for Everton and Scotland. So we've kept to the rules this time. Very much so. What do you think of the team, guys? Overall, as a team.
Overall, it's a decent team. It's not the team I probably would have liked, but given the restrictions, it was a difficult proposition. Yeah. I think we've done a pretty good job there.
I think we've done a really good job. Leroy, yourself?
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who watches the show, I think they're going to be thinking, oh, you could have put this player in, or why have they picked this particular team? But when you obviously look at the restrictions that we were up against, it was very difficult to actually pick an 11. And obviously we all have to agree as well, which makes it even more difficult. But looking at the team, I'm quite happy that we've got the likes of Sterling in there, which represents sort of like current football. And then obviously Sharp, 80s, so it's a good mixture of players, and it's produced a sort of, a great mixture of different sort of obviously nationalities and overall I think a really good team.
If we were more tactful, and obviously had a bigger pool of player knowledge, I think obviously the research wasn't as great as I would have liked it to have been, but I still think we picked a really, really good team. I think you could probably put that team up against anybody and it'd be given a decent game, so I'm happy with that.
Okay. One more thing as well. We need to decide on where is it? Is it here?
Before you go off on that, David, what do you think of the team? Did you get to say what you thought?
I think the team is really good. I'm looking at it in general over like across the team. Obviously, playing a 4-4-2 also can hinder choosing the team as well. I think it's a great team in general.
It's a really balanced team. Tony,
it's a really balanced team, and I think Tony would be really happy about it. To be honest, would he be happy about Everton playing up front?
Yeah, I think he's a football realist, doesn't he? Really, so I think he wouldn't dispute that.
Yeah, I'm trying to put the subs, but who are we choosing as our manager? Brian Clough.
Yeah, we give it to Cloughie in memory of Cloughie.
Leroy, who would you choose as your manager? Brian Clough, Alex Ferguson, or Roy Hodgson?
Frozen.
He has frozen. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened. He's gone there overall, but obviously I came up with a team myself over the kind of I researched it quite well, and then came up with a team. Aaron, your screen has gone down. I think we're waiting on Leroy to jump back.
Yeah,
waiting on Leroy to jump back at the moment.
If he can.
So if you can, in the meantime, obviously I picked a team myself. Obviously, in light of the stream, I picked Czech for 2010, Dennis Irwin on the left back, Carvalho, Hansen, Lauren, Vinnie Jones, Glenn Hoddle up Cam, Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, Dalglish, and Dennis Bergkamp. So I picked a quite balanced team myself, but I think this team outweighs it. I think that is a good. I mean, Kante maybe in the midfield would have been easier, maybe to go around that kind of a 90s era, to pick one more 90s player. But we did well in I think getting rid of Ginola to go for Cantona instead, because
it saved the video about 45 minutes. So
it did, yeah. I think Cantona is. I think Cantona has to be in there.
Leroy's back. Oh, yeah, cool.
There he is. Okay.
Yeah, I just appeared back. Sorry, guys. The technical problems there.
That's all right. No worries. Yep. So, Leroy, we were obviously asking between. I was going to ask you what would Tony think of this team and Clive. Obviously, in light of Graham Sharp going in their team.
Yeah, no, I think Tony would have been definitely up for Graham Sharp going in the team. I also think they would have brought a bit more to the show, obviously, and to the lineup. You know, we've actually missed them a bit this week. Matthew as well, but no, we've done well with what we've got and what we've had in front of us. I think we've put together a really good team.
Yeah, agreed.
it will actually be really interesting to give those three a task to pick a team with the same restrictions and see what they come up with. Not necessarily online, but just
Yeah, we'll post
that would be interesting. Yeah, but no, I think we've done really. I think we've done really well. So yeah, that's all good.
Great, perfect. Aaron, any players? Okay, if the restrictions were lifted, who would be going out of this team immediately?
Zabaleta, Loren, Sterling, and Graham Sharp.
Cool. If the restrictions were lifted for me, I would probably put Henri instead of Eric Cantona. Don't know why. That's kind of my take on it. I'll probably have to have Beckham in there. Giggs has to be in there. Dennis Bergkamp definitely. Gianfranco Zola definitely 100%. And just for a fisticuff, I'll definitely go for Paolo Di Canio as well.
Yeah, Paolo would be good. Paolo would have been good.
If restrictions were lifted, Leroy, who would you pick on the team?
Yeah, there'll be a few that I would certainly have chosen instead. I can't actually see the lineup just now in front of me because my computer's just found a bit of a wobbly.
Right. That's right.
But no, I would have definitely had a few different choices there to make. 100%. Let's see who would have had striking. I would have probably had
Shearer, maybe.
Probably Alan Shearer in there.
Greatest Premier League striker of all time, arguably.
Yeah, I would have probably definitely kept Viv Anderson over on as the right back.
Carlton Palmer in midfield.
Yeah, probably had Carlton in there.
Yeah, that's great. So,
that's
great. Cool, perfect. Okay, so I think that's going to wrap up the stream for today. Obviously, we have. Yes, go on, Aaron.
Let's just say, join us for the vodcast
next week. That's what I was about to say. Yeah,
freestyling.
We have an ultimate video coming up next week. It is another vodcast from yours truly, Aaron, Leroy. We're hoping Clive, Matt, and also Tony join back on. And your cousin, was it Wayne?
Wayne from Jamaica.
Wayne from Jamaica probably will join that.
But that would just be like current affairs, rather than sort of a little bit of football, but mainly
a little bit,
current affairs.
And then the week after, we are expected to do our all-time World 11 from the 1980s.
Yeah, we'll have to get the research done for this one.
Yeah,
we just had a fantastic comment there, David. Can you read it out?
Yes, our next comment obviously comes from. Wait a sec, hold up. I've not seen the comments. Is it from JM?
Yeah.
JM, great night's entertainment. Thank you, JM.
Thanks, JM. Cheers.
Amazing. We had a few comments, obviously, through here. Spitfire said too many options. JM said egg the Davids. Steve MC said Gerrard was a bit shite without Xavi Alonso to babysit him. Matt Letitia from Southampton was a great shout. JM also said Chris Sutton. Karan, one of my mates, said Danny Welbeck. That's a good one. Aussie Alders and JM said also great night entertainment. Obviously, I think when we're picking these teams and we're thinking, it does come across well on the screen. For me personally, it's like, who are these guys going to pick? Really, who's going to these guys pick? But I think for the all-time World 11, I think we will have an easier time picking that.
It's going to be brilliant. And just forget the restrictions on that one. Let's just have a pure.
I think we still need to have the decade restrictions, but the nations and the teams are out of it. I think the restrictions on that one need to be lifted because it does need to be an all-time World 11. Should we push it back to the 70s and maybe have an inclusive of Pele and these guys in there as well?
Yeah, whatever's clever.
Leroy, what do you think of it? 70s players, including the World 11 as well.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad shout at all. But we'll obviously have to do sort of a lot more research, like Aaron mentioned a while ago. But yeah, why not? Why not, man? We've got so much scope. So
because
do it.
Because if I have max 2 players from Brazil, I'm gonna cry. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Cool, guys. Okay, well, that's pretty much been it. Aaron, any final thoughts for today's stream?
Just keep on watching Fan Chat TV and join us for the vodcast next week. It's going to be serious.
It is going to be serious. Leroy, any thoughts on the stream at all?
No. It was really good. I mean, it was difficult, really difficult this week. It's probably been one of the most difficult teams we've had to pick since I've been doing this. It really made you think. And I mean, thank God for Google in some respects tonight. But it's it was really good, really good. It's like someone mentioned on the comments, entertaining.
Very entertaining. And for myself, obviously, it's been an excellent stream. Thank you, Leroy and Aaron, for joining once again. And yeah, everyone, make sure you subscribe to Fan Chat TV, like this video, and comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. If there's any players that you would like to swap, and put your team down below in the comment section as well. And let us know who would you pick with these restrictions. And we had a difficult time, and maybe you have a difficult time too. So from us, it's take care and good night. Take care, guys.